Hey everybody. So, obviously I've been gone for about like a week or so, and the short story of that is that I got sick. But there's not really much else to say other than I got sick, felt like crap, couldn't really do much. So, let's get into why you're here, the guide. Alright, so first off, we're going to take Rhineland as our first focus, and then after Rhineland is done, we're going to move immediately over to some of the economic focuses. We're going to do 4-year plan, autarky, the two focuses on the right branch that give you some civilian factories, and then you're going to get that extra research slot. For your research, I'd recommend just trying to, keep track of what I'm researching in this game. Obviously, you don't have to go by exactly what I'm doing, but I think that most of the things are just a pretty decent way to get started. There are obviously some things that I do different than most people, and so if you don't want to do that, then that's fine, but I will have a lot of the research and stuff on the screen. For construction, you should just focus on building up civilian factories until 1938, 1939, somewhere around that range, and then you'll switch over to military factories, maybe some synthetic refineries. And for your production, put 10 factories on infantry equipment and then 5 on everything else. And for your dockyards, you will just max out every single ship that's being built, because the goal is to probably have all those ships that are being built before you start actually building your own unique designs and stuff like that. Now, for your military, I would recommend selecting all of your divisions, assigning them to one army, selecting 2 divisions that are really strong. Usually I do 2 tank divisions, and then put them into an army, and depending on what units you chose, in my case tank divisions, you want to choose a general that's kind of suited for that, because this will be your volunteer army in Spain. Now, the rest of your divisions, you'll have 24 of them be in an army, and then the rest in another. And so you should have 30 divisions in the start, 2 of them in a volunteer group, and then 4 and 24 in their own army groups, and not army groups, and then obviously assign your generals, and where you want to put your army right now is probably like Austria or something, but we're not really going to be focusing on the army until much later. Also, your starting fleet, you should probably just select it and combine all of your ships right now into one fleet. Don't overdo it. Like, once you get more ships and stuff, if you have like 200 ships, you probably don't want to have them in one port if they're like good ships, like carriers, capital class, and a bunch of like destroyers and stuff. If it's just like submarine spam, then that's fine. But this definitely goes for airplanes as well, except airplanes will tell you, airports will tell you when like you're overstacking it. And that's something I want to emphasize before you even get started. Do not overstack your airports when you eventually do go to war, because it will ruin the efficiency of your airplanes. So just don't do that. Now, when the Spanish Civil War starts, you want to send over those 2 divisions that I told you to specifically select for volunteers, and you'll want to send them over to Nationalist Spain, or I guess if for some weird reason you want the Republicans to win as Germany, send them over to the Republicans. It doesn't necessarily matter, it's just you're more likely to lose those divisions if you send them to the Republicans. And so, anyways, you send them over to the Nationalists, and what your main goal is going to be in the Spanish Civil War, you can definitely help them win, but your main goal is just get a bunch of war experience from it. Also, around this time, you should be able to hire a captain of industry, so be a good idea to do that. Just gives you a little bit of bonus when building your civilian factories. Now, around this time, like end of 1936, you should probably start researching some tank technologies because you might think it's like too early to start researching that, but especially if you're in a multiplayer, you need to definitely prepare to build tanks and stuff way before you're actually going to build them, because it takes quite a while to get all of that research done, and also takes quite a while to get like the factories and stuff. Mainly the research. It takes a very long time to do, and you do get some bonuses from the German focus tree, but you still need to start early regardless. You also need to hire a tank designer in order to just get a little bit more bonus to your research and a little bit of bonus to your actual tanks once you start building them. So if you want medium tanks, get the medium tank designer, heavy tanks, heavy tank designer, and light tanks, mobile tank designer. And now, at the end of 1936 or beginning of 1937, you want to start building up your military because you'll have a little bit of a stockpile left over. Your goal before the Second World War starts is you should probably have like at least one full army group, which would be 120 divisions deployed in the field. And what I usually do while I'm training them is I train 18, 20 infantry divisions, and then the rest in that group of 24 would be motorized and tanks, light tanks. And this is just to give you a little bit, like, I guess, like, if you're micromanaging and stuff like that, you can have some okay divisions that aren't just infantry that you can use. And also, they just work better in combat as well. Now, for your next couple focuses, you should just try to go down Army Innovations until you get to Army Innovations 2. The reason that you want to do this is because you actually need, well, you don't need to do this, but it's a pretty big help. It allows you to hire a lot of pretty decent military advisors, especially Rommel, who is an armor genius, which is a huge boost. Once you're done with Army Innovations 2, it's probably going to be a good idea to actually invest your next national focus into the Autobahn, because that gives you a lot of infrastructure, which boosts your construction speed in certain states. So, also something I'd like to mention is you definitely need to hire some sort of air advisor as your chief of Air Force, because you want to be getting constant air experience, because you do need that air experience to actually design planes. And on to my next point, kind of jumping off of that, you should probably start researching planes around this time as well. And once the Autobahn focus finishes, we're going to actually deploy as many of the divisions that we have training as we can, and then we're going to hopefully be able to take Anschluss. In my case, obviously I was able to take Anschluss, but maybe in your case you have to take one more focus before you can take Anschluss. But you're going to want to try to aim for over 500k in the field after getting, well, before you finish Autobahn. Now, after Anschluss finishes, obviously you'll get Austria for free, and you should, as long as you just kept quick deploying, or maybe quick deployed your divisions after you finish this focus, you should have enough manpower in the field to actually just go down the Demand Sudetenland path to where you can annex Czechoslovakia. I don't really know what the best option to do whenever you annex Czechoslovakia is. If you want to make Slovakia a puppet state, or just annex the whole thing, it's really your choice. In my opinion, annexing the whole thing is probably the best, but maybe making a puppet is good in multiplayer if you want somebody to hot join in as Slovakia. Also, you should definitely hire a theorist, because it makes the doctrine costs go down significantly, and that can allow you to get through your doctrines a lot faster. In my case, I went with mobile warfare, because that's the doctrine that I was going for. After you finish Fate of Czechoslovakia, you don't necessarily have to do any of these focuses in this specific order, but I would recommend obviously doing Reassert Eastern Claims and Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact, because eventually you're going to do Danzig or War to start World War II, and there are a couple of other focuses that I recommend that you maybe look into. You could do German war economy, but I think it's probably better to try and puppet both Hungary and Romania through the aligned focuses, and then merge the military economies. I think it's something like that. And now, you might not be able to do this before the actual war starts, but it's just something that I did in this playthrough. But anyways, that's all the focuses for right now. And to be honest, this is pretty much the setup for your game. Now, what I would recommend, just as some parting notes, I guess, is you should probably start researching some stuff whenever it comes to synthetic refinery, getting rubber from those, because even though you're going to start building military factories probably pretty soon, probably 1939 is when you should start building military factories, maybe even earlier across your country, but you're going to need a lot of rubber, and if you're maybe in multiplayer or something, the war might last quite a long time, so you're going to need that rubber. And I'll let the rest of the video play, and I do have just one more recommendation that I forgot to talk about. You should always assign traits to your generals and stuff when you can, and you want to make sure that you shift click on the exercise button for your whole army. And wow, I actually forgot a lot. You should probably put an army group with just two 24 division armies assigned to the border with France, just so you don't get invaded by them super quickly, and then have the other three 24 division armies be focused on Poland, Netherlands, all of that. You should also move your conscription law up, just so you have enough manpower in case you have to use a lot of troops to take over Poland and all of that. Oh, and something I probably should have mentioned whenever I was talking about shift-click exercise. This is so that your troops will exercise until all of them reach elite level, which gives you a pretty big bonus in combat. Well, if you don't shift-click, they'll just keep going. That's what I meant. So yeah, this is pretty much the guide. I will let the rest of the video play through, just showing like what I did, and then we'll end off with, I guess, a little really short time lapse of Poland getting defeated, and it'll be the end. Hope you all enjoyed this video, and if you did, leave a like, comment, maybe subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Sorry for the absence, but I will try and be more active in the next few weeks. Bye.